Don't go back. I'm going to find no probable cause on both of your cases now, but look, you know that they don't want you back. Don't go back as a student, as a person.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
They've got eyes on you. So you go back over there, it's just going to end up in a bad way, right? You're on notice now. So even going near the property, it's not going to end well. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Judge, was that no please get on vote?
Yeah. You were Anderson Herrera. All right. Mr. Herrera, you're charged with criminal trespass. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 6th, 2025, the officer was notified by a witness that a former student, the defendant, was inside Spring High School. The defendant was unenrolled from the school by the associate principal on February 4th, 2025, and was told not to return. Spring ISD school records show the defendant is no longer an active student, and the school officer and associate principal advised the defendant to leave on February 6th a second time, not to return. The officer observed the defendant walking on the walkway with other students, and the defendant continued to walk in the officer's direction. The officer observed the defendant pull his hoodie over his head while walking towards the bus ramp area. The officer was in full uniform and gave the defendant a verbal command to stop and follow the officer to his patrol vehicle. The defendant disregarded these verbal commands and began walking in the opposite direction. The officer grabbed the defendant by his left arm and the defendant began to resist, pulling away to the point where he started coming out of his hoodie. The officer verbally commanded the defendant to stop, and the defendant broke loose and used evasive foot maneuvers to gain distance from the officer in the direction of an open parking lot. The officer notified Spring ISD police and requested assistance. The defendant was detained 300 yards from the initial interaction.
So he was where?
He was at Spring High
I
School.
know, but was he in the outside or was he?
He was on the outside walking towards a parking lot and walking with a group of students when the officer interacted with
He was
him.
outside. Was he, so any
Still
point?
on the property owner of Spring High School, and they told him not to return to that high school. They told him on the 4th of February not to return to the high school. And he was
Yeah,
on the
I
property.
understand that,
Mhm.
but he's on the outskirts, he's on the sidewalk.
He was walking on a walkway with other students.
Walkway of the school,
It was
near the parking lot of the school, which is owned by the school.
yes, Judge, it was the walkway with other students. And that's when the officer saw him and tried to make contact with him.
I mean, I'd like to know where, is he on public property? Is he just on a sidewalk on the outside of the school, Just walking?
He was with other students on the walkway walking towards the
Is
bus.
Further in the DMs, it describes it as the walkway near the portable buildings located north of the band parking lot. So
Let's do this, Mr. Herrera. I'm going to appoint you a lawyer today so we can get down and dirty with your case a little bit more. Just take a seat for me in the jury box. Let me get you a lawyer, okay? All right, coming up, counsel. Good morning.
Morning.
Here. Here.
I'm here for Anderson Herrera. Told you guys questions on PC. Yes.
Yeah, have you gone through the facts? Have you gone through the facts? Okay. I don't remember just because we've had so many cases. Will you refresh my memory on Mr. Anderson
Yes, sure.
or Mr. Herrera? Sorry. I thought that PC was kind of shaky, and so that's why I wanted to appoint a lawyer to see what arguments you may or may not have.
On February 6, 2025, an officer was notified by a witness that a former student, the defendant, was
Oh, that's
inside
right.
Spring High School. The defendant was unenrolled from the school by the associate principal.
Wait. You just said in Spring High School.
Yes, I spoke to the officer to get a better picture of where he was on the campus. He walked through a gate. He was never inside the school itself, but he walked through gates to be on the property of the school.
I mean, is he on the sidewalk?
I have it on Google Maps if I can show you where he went.
Okay, yeah, come on.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that it's pretty shaky and my client has,
So was here, walk through this gate, to get through here, to go into these parking lots, to go around here.
This is good.
Did you see, it's been 20 years since I've done that, but
Take a look so you can see exactly where she's talking about. I mean, he's like,
Also, you said you went through here. Parking lot. And then this is here where. He was told not to come back by the principal and officers on scene, and he came back to the property, walked through a gate.
It's my understanding that he was told not to come back to the school as a student. I don't think he had entered the property yet. He was basically.
so interesting. Don't come back as a student. Does that mean you can come back as a civilian? I think I-
And so where does he go if he has questions about a charter school that he's about to go to? This is the place where he naturally thought that he would go to make such inquiries, and
Yeah.
he's standing out there cautiously not entering the building.
Understood.
All right.
So just no
But
PC
I
on the
will
criminal,
now admonish him, don't go near.
but just no PC on the criminal trespass. What about the evading?
was it free?
Yes, sir.
It's Friday.
Man, I want to go see my Marvel movie. Yeah, I mean, the reviews are bad too. Damn it. I shouldn't say that. I mean, all right, I'm gonna find a PC.
Maybe,
Do you have something else that you want to add?
No, just give me just a moment. I'm not thinking
Oh, yes, all right.
Or as a person.
Come up. Don't go back. I'm gonna find no probable cause on both your cases now, but look, you know that they don't want you back. Don't go back as a student, as a person.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
They've got eyes on you, so you go back over there, it's just gonna end up in a bad way, right? You're non notice now, so even going near the property, it's not gonna end well. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man, good luck.
Thank you.
Judge, was that no PC on both?
Yeah. You are Diego Camacho.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Camacho, you're charged with failure to stop and give information. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 7th, 2025, officers were dispatched to Hardy Road in Harris County, Texas, in regard to a minor crash, failure to stop and give information call. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the complainant, who was also in police uniform. The complainant stated he was driving on the freeway when another vehicle got into his lane and cut him off to make the exit. The defendant got over and hit the front right panel of his truck with the back driver's side of the defendant's vehicle. The complainant followed the defendant, who had his hazards on, but the defendant did not pull over. The complainant continued to follow the defendant's vehicle until the 911 operator told him to stop following. The complainant gave a description of the defendant's vehicle, and a license plate number to the dispatcher. The complainant pulled over and waited for the officers to make a report with an estimated damage of $2,000. The officers ran the license plate and found the vehicle registered to an address on Skinner Road, and the officers traveled to the location and met with the defendant and his father. The officers were given consent to enter the property, look at the vehicle, and observe damage. The defendant stated he was crossing the lane to get over because there was an opening and that the truck accelerated and hit him. The defendant stated the complainant already hit him and was close behind him, so he kept going. The defendant stated he turned down his street and the complainant kept going. The defendant's address is approximately 7 miles from where the accident occurred.
Okay.
So Judge, if I may, the complainant was only stopped following him while he had his hazards because he was told on the 911 call. And also I see on the summary that when they run his license plates, this license plate is GS 9711 is missing a letter. License plates are usually 3 letters, 3 and 3 numbers. So I'm not sure how running the license plates will go to his house. And additionally, if the correct license plates were also run, then it would actually show that he's not the owner of the vehicle. So I'm not sure how they were able to identify.
Well, somehow they got to the house, right?
Yes, Judge, they ran and they got to an address and they went there and met with the defendant.
And then he states that he was driving, right? And the collision occurred, and then he took off. Your license plate, I have no idea. I mean, Did they not have, did they have the full license plate or did they not?
Your Honor, at this time, I don't know. The DIMS just states as counsel said, just GS 9711. So I don't know in the full office report if it says the full license plate number, but either way, they ran a license plate and they returned.
Somehow they were able to get it to him. I don't know. I mean, if you discover something later that's different, come back and we can revisit probable cause. I'm happy to do it at any time.
Yeah, Judge, and so the reason I say that is because I have the tags for that vehicle, and that's not the license plates that we've had on the summary. And that's the
I mean,
reason.
really, we'd have to set it for a formal hearing.
Okay, Judge.
Because I have to give them time to be able to respond to that as well, you know,
That's
because
right.
that's more, I mean, this is just a mere probable cause here.
Your Honor, in the OR, there is the complete license plate. It's the RSG and it continues on. So
That's fine, Judge.
So you're saying it was in the DIMS?
in the DIMS, it was missing a letter, but in the full OR, they have the complete license number.
You know, pull the 911 tapes, see what the 911 tape
We'll wait
says,
for
right?
that,
It may
Judge.
be different, as, you know, maybe they'll have the whole thing on the 911 tape, you know?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Camacho, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Have you run his license? See, he has a valid license.
Correct, Your Honor.
You are not allowed to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance in your name. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That is a condition of your bond. So if I find that you're driving and you don't have a license or you don't have insurance, I'm going to revoke your bond. I'll put you in jail. No more PR bonds.
Eligible, Your Honor.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you have a lawyer. Good job having a lawyer. Because you do, I will waive your appearance, but it is your responsibility to stay in touch with her. You don't have to come back to court. She'll let you know when you have to come back to court. All right? All right, I'm going to have you sign a receipt of Victoria. We'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it and then you'll be free to go. All right? Thanks. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Johnson. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while your license is suspended. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On February 6, 2025, the officer observed a vehicle with an unreadable temporary tag and initiated a traffic stop. The officer made contact with the defendant, the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle, and the defendant stated her license plates were in the vehicle, but she did not put them on yet. The officer ran the plates and did a person check, and the return showed the defendant had been issued a Texas driver's license, but it had been expired since 2015 and was not eligible for renewal. The defendant had 7 previous DWI convictions and an open warrant for DWLI.
7 prior DWLI convictions and now she had an open warrant for one?
DWLI, yes, Judge.
Where,
You see, Judge.
so she's currently on bond in another county?
This is out of an active open warrant for DWLI out of Harris County, Texas, and it gives a cause number. I just don't know which court it is in.
Can you run her license right now, please?
I'll run it, Your Honor.
You need to understand, man, that this is absolutely serious business. You know, I have people that send me emails and letters now begging me what to do and try to help them out because they've gotten to an accident where they've injured someone else and they have now been filed a lawsuit where someone else is trying to get $50,000 from them and they're begging, what do? I don't have money. I don't have this. I don't have that. That's why we have car insurance, so that when you are in an accident, you are covered because you never know when it's going to happen. That's why they're called accidents and not on purposements, right? There are many accidents out there that you can, I mean, if you maim someone, who do you think they're going to come after? And if they get a judgment after you, it'll trail you for the rest of your life.
We have no license on file for Ms. Johnson in our system.
Stop. If you do not have a Texas driver's license, ma'am, you are not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Totally.
You will be signing an affidavit with me today. This is a promise that you're going to make to me that you're not going to drive. If I find that you do, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Take it seriously. I don't care if there's a burning building and 50 children that need to be saved. Your attitude says a lot, and it's really unfortunate. But somehow we have to get through to you, Ms. Johnson. If you don't have a license and liability insurance in your name, you're not allowed to drive. If you show me that you do, then I will take this restriction off. So let's do this. I will give you, I know you're itching to say something, but I've got a bunch of prosecutors here. I will give you a lawyer today. I'll give you a lawyer. You can say your side to the lawyer, but I'm not asking for much. All I'm telling you, if you don't have a license, then don't drive. Do you understand?
That's why I did my part. They're not honoring it. It's right there, in November. I'm just waiting on Austin. I've done my part.
I don't know. So
Exactly.
what you need to do is you need to call DPS in Austin and figure out, hey, what do I need to do to get my license? But I can give you a lawyer today. Talk to the lawyer and the lawyer can also help you out. But until that point, until you have an actual license and insurance, do not drive. Are we clear? Okay. All right. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to this, then I'll have you sign a wreath of Victoria, and I'll have you take a seat in the jury box. We find you a lawyer here momentarily. Mr. Williams, you were charged with assault of a family member. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 8th, 2025, the officers were dispatched to a disturbance call. The officer met with the complainant, who stated that she and the defendant were in a 7-month relationship. The complainant stated that she shoved the defendant with her shoulder and that the defendant then grabbed her and threw her around. The complainant advised that the defendant was grabbing her face and neck area and has pushed her to the ground, causing pain. The officer observed a laceration on the complainant's hand and a swollen lip. The officer made contact with the defendant, who stated that he lost control and that he admitted to shoving the complainant.
Williams, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with this person. Do you understand? If you have contact with this person, if I find that you're in possession of a weapon, I'm going to revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds. I want my community safe. I don't care who it is, what color they are, whether they're a small farm animal, I don't care. Everyone gets protected. Do you understand? You have the ability to hire a lawyer, Mr. Williams. Okay, I will take a look at an affidavit. I'll see whether you qualify, and then I'll have you take a seat in the jury box. I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria now. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions. Do you understand? And then I'll have you talk to a lawyer here momentarily.
I work with her, so
I'm sorry,
she worked at the same on
that's going to be an issue. I don't want you to have contact with. Actions have consequences. Did you get appointed to Mr. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. I wanted you to look at probable cause to see if you guys had any issues with it. That's why, or wait, no, maybe that was another case. Okay, tell me.
We were approaching, there's a MOEP and bond conditions that have no contact. The parties no longer live together, but they work at the same place, and there's a chance that their schedules could coincide with each other. State's okay with no threatening and harassing, but.
Have you reached out to the complaining witness? Do you
Yes,
know?
so, I mean, she's not on board, regardless, but I confirmed that they don't live together, so my suggestion was to have no threatening or harassing, that way both of them can work.
But I want to make sure that she's, protected, that she doesn't have any kind of fear.
Yeah, she's not really concerned, from my understanding, but, I would suggest, just keeping the residency restrictions so that, because they don't live together,
Mr. Williams, come up.
and then just, keep the no threatening or harassing contact for that purpose.
Good morning. So your lawyers asked for me to modify your bond conditions to say no threatening or harassing. I will acquiesce, but you have to understand what is threatening or harassing. Doesn't matter what you think. It's what she perceives. So if I'm going like this, is that threatening or harassing? It most certainly is, and it can get you in trouble. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with this person, but if it's a type where you're constantly butting heads, you got to be careful. There are many, many vindictive people in this world, and you never know if all they got to do is call, hey man, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then you're going to end up back. So you got to be careful. You understand? Okay. So the only thing I'm doing is I'm modifying the conditions so no threatening or harassing contact. The residential restriction will still apply. So you cannot go to the house listed in the order for protection. Any more questions, anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, good luck.
Judge, you want me to refile that? Because I know the language that's typically in there.
Yeah, I would, just in case, so it's like nice and clean, yeah.
Sounds good. I'll file that now.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, and no weapons too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Lozano. Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 7th, 2025, at approximately 10:08 PM, the officer was dispatched to a major crash on the 200 block of South US 50 freeway in Harris County, Texas. The officer met with other officers at the nearby gas station where they had moved the scene. The wheel witness stated she was rear-ended by the defendant and was able to put the defendant behind the wheel of the vehicle. The officer observed front-end damage to the defendant's vehicle, and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver, and occupant of the vehicle. The officer observed slurred speech, staggering, and disorientation and confusion. The standard fields of writings were conducted, HGN 4 out of 6, walk and turn 4 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant stated he did not drink any alcohol that day, and the defendant was read the DIC and refused to provide a breath specimen. A blood search warrant was signed and executed.
Williams?
The judge sounds like there's no probable cause because US 50 is not in Harris County, Texas. It's what the road they said it happened though.
Where is it?
It said US 50, that's not in Harris County.
And the DIMS does say 200 block of South US.
Are you serious?
It says-
Do I need to look it up? I don't know.
Your Honor, the
Okay.
DIMS further says during the scene of the accident, which occurred on 200 block of South US 59 freeway, Harris County, Texas. But counsel is correct that before they said he responded to a major crash call for service on the 200 block of South US 50 freeway.
I
So they
just heard
put,
50.
so they put 50, but then later in the DIMS, they did put 59.
All right.
So they're just two addresses, so I don't know why that's there. But they did say the accident occurred on US 59.
Well, that would be a different story.
Do you have any other evidence that is pointing to that it's at 59 or is it 50?
So, Your Honor, the only thing we have is that statement from the officer, which states that the accident occurred on 200 block of US 59 in Houston, Texas, 77004.
Is that what really happened or was it on 50?
So that's what I can explain is the officer put
I'm not working on hunches here, man.
and I understand, Your Honor. The officer initially said he responded to a crash call for service, which occurred on US 50, but then later said the accident occurred on 59. So let me see if
Can't
we,
definitively
I
point.
guess,
There it is.
I'll check the OR and see if they clarify in the complete OR. And in the OR as well, the officer says, which occurred on 200 block of US 50, Houston, Texas, 77004.
So is 50, it's not in Harris County?
That's
He
50,
switches
Highway
between 50 and 59 in the offense report sheet.
I know, probable cause.
Yes, Judge, and we understand.
All right, Joe.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Lozano, be careful out there. You know what I mean? Really. Just listen to, he's great. He'll help you out whenever you need, you know? All right, man. Good luck.
Excuse, Judge? All right, I'll meet you in the hallway. Okay.